In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent,
En el Buda, el Dharma y la Sangha más excelente, tomo refugio hasta alcanzar la iluminación. Por el mérito de la generosidad y otras buenas obras, que alcancemos la budeidad por el beneficio de todos los seres sensibles. En el Buda, el Dharma y la Sangha más excelente, tomo refugio hasta alcanzar la iluminación.
By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. Please turn the wheel of the Dharma of the two vehicles and their combination according to the dispositions and mental as the mental capacities of sentient beings.
Good afternoon. to the telegic last one, the 9 of breathing cheese.
So Drupon says he would like to start us off by doing the 9 rounds of breathing.
That Kojian Chane, that long loss of Bakumdu, that in Jimmy Gold, that's a Mazibi, that not so shocky, Lana, long Tamando, or today, support there out in Samba, Yako Casabri.
So this is kind of connected with different like prana practices or practices with the winds, but also can just be done on a daily basis and is beneficial to do, especially early in the morning, first thing when you wake up, as a way to kind of dispel all of the stale winds and to kind of brighten or clarify the body and mind, kind of as a way to just flush the system of the subtle body, as you start your day.
That you don't to get on there around to Jik Hakona, the view is. Jake is Hubina, Tanga to long young, more big gobler, could you find over is? In a young Tang big gobler, Tamboti, it is Carsecuda stone Lugabro, this Chimbo, Tenet Jujimbo, Tenetic Chigres. Niba de Carsenatine, Chimbo, this Tundom, this star Chigres. Tenesumba de Tenea. This flow Kale, Kalemo, Chetan, Tarnet, Zamazan, as a Davy or the town part of Yarnet, long summer, Chilot, Tomano, Jibris. That teleporting Jibaris, Himbazo.
So we say 9 rounds. So generally there are like they're done in sets of 3. But also can be done just as one, so like 1, 1, 1. But with the sets of 3, so that when you inhale, the inhalation is the same. So we have like a long, full inhalation. We're breathing in, and then but what is different is the exhale. So like starting first, with one side, one nostril. The first exhalation is strong and long. So it's like kind of a long exhalation, but strong. The second one is strong. The second exhalation that is strong and short. So you sort of stop short. It's like a strong and short exhalation kind of with a stop. And then the third one is relaxed, slow, easy, and long. But not strong, sort of more gentle. But the exhalation is one that's like really deep, so that you're really like fully expelling all of the air, like so that you even feel it below the navel as you're kind of emptying out your channels.
Okay, so then also first we, I think Tom, a bit. Kind of press in the ring finger and then close the
so at the joint of the ring finger.
Right, so this only so kind of what make the kotono down.
So it's actually called the Vajra fist. This mudra. So you're holding your, it's underneath your elbows that you're...
Do we mirror you or do we follow you?
Right. Yeah.
So you're
doing
following, not mirroring.
Okay.
next one. Any change?
They stand at the time to take it out is late. Oh, young or what is Sembri, young or ten, I told your mind, but please, Sembra, check. Can you walk Madonna and this late like this?
So it's a little bit easier if after each when you inhale, so at the end of the inhale, you actually hold the wind for a little bit before you exhale. So it's not just like you inhale and immediately exhale. Actually, like hold it for a moment and then do the exhalation.
That's something young. Neron chin and degree young, something that they might not before the meditation. Kaduin young, Kongas a long exhale, the now somebody which you think was on chin and to go this spinner.
So he said also, so we can do the 9 rounds of breathing, but then also sometimes like before you meditate, it's helpful to do like you don't have to do the full 9 rounds of breathing, you can just do like 3 exhalations like he just demonstrated, kind of pausing after the inhalation, holding the wind, and then exhaling kind of with the same rhythm of, strong and long, strong and short, long and gentle.
Okay, so your questions?
Do you hold the wind up high or down low in the abdomen?
Right. So that tanda we na to the jeta long kongyo marwa ina yang long kadungo bi na yang karsebore to the long te tanda da to ju ko on na ron trewa ta zo ta long ko mya zo yin bi na tene en chik meni ko nga so long to ma tebe yo ron to no som kan ko ris.
So yeah, I mean, we're not like doing wind practice right now, but still, he said, in general, and with the 9 rounds of breathing, when you do breathe in, and then especially if like you're holding the wind a little bit, you usually do want to think of it as going down to about below the navel.
So I do this pretty much every day and have added a lot to it. So for instance, I think, it's not just physical, right? But it's like red, white channel, blue, central channel. Yeah. And a bunch of other stuff, but just checking on that part.
Really, that the I think that was general technology. The when the beginning though, that was achieve what the visual main degrees. Ya specific chibona ngata. That's
so when you're like in general, when you're doing this, and especially like as you're starting out, it's fine to just do like how we did, and there's no need to add visualization to it. But then as you do like kind of progress in the practice, and especially, when it comes to other practices involving the channels and winds, then yeah, you can visualize the channels, like, and as you said, the 3 channels, like the central channel, the Roma and the Changma.
That the kind of Congress in that, Zakomate, David Wall, Kasom Devache, Tene, AR, Tana Tao Mayor, so Devache, Rozamate. Teneta, Roma Jamani, David Wall in Martin, who make Umales or Chine. Tene side the parallel check, the Amjok round the cheek, now I'm also the one of Gores.
And so the way you visualize that is that, the central channel is running along the sort of central meridian of the inner cavity of the hollow body, and the central channel is closed at the bottom, and that at the point that's like 4 finger widths below the navel, and it extends all the way up to the crown, to the aperture of Brahma, and then there are the 2 side channels, the Roma and the Changma, which run parallel to the central channel, and they hook into the central channel at that point that is 4 finger widths below the navel, and they run parallel up, kind of like over, kind of going up, or kind of around the ears, and then hooking into at the nostrils, like right? The 2 nostrils. That's the point where they exit. They're opening.
That is it. That's what I can get it out. I like down that one with your.
What? Clear.
That was it.
Oh, so we talked a lot about clear light, and Mahamudra, Dharmakaya.
That practitioner was it and Yamlantini Chilios are Padona, Padona, Motion, Padona, Yamla, particularly was safe Gablan Yamlanchina. Something which I be shock chamber your ears on Pen Paduk, now Shahib, Shirgun Yamlan Chibata, message at Yamlan Chibata, Padona, Ship Shirgun Yamlan Chibata, shock chair or a soon. Jim Sakas, no more Yomar, Dubai Yomara. Nazo Kita Tanda over JK, Metsendi Nan Yamlasia, Lela Yomara, not so Ambonga Yore, Yunga Yore, Tenepe, be massive. That category obstacle destruction yorwa padoga theomarwa tini shuche yores.
So for a practitioner who can realize or recognize the clear light, however long they can sustain that at the time of death, it becomes very powerful. So like, and there's some who can just stay in clear light, like the full duration of the Bardo, like the 49 days of the Bardo. And that is actually said to be even more powerful than like practicing your whole lifetime, because while we're alive, then it is, we have the presence of the obscurations, the cognitive obscurations, the obscurations of afflictive emotions, and there's the functioning of the senses, meeting with the sense objects, and so there's all this like distraction, and at the time of death, like those obscurations are lifted, and there isn't the same sort of functioning of the senses and the objects of the senses. So it's actually much more powerful to meditate on clear light at that time.
그가 나이트 송도와 대가블라 갈스나 그 obscuration 그 maybe 좀 산들리 맞아 단달리 되는 리포트 초크나 this here is.
And it's said that our awareness at the time of death or in the Bardo is actually 6 times more powerful than it is now.
다 되지. 다 되네. 다 되려면서 다 마도나 알아고 다 되네 마도. Maybe we can read. 되니 공개 도지 마도나 나오지는 추니 활동혀 리슨 TV 다우 설솜지 동강에 받나이 해봐요스.
So then continuing, so if there isn't recognition that occurs, at that point where the clear light shines forth, then one moves into the following experiences of the Chuni Bardo, or the Bardo of fundamental reality is how it's translated here. So we can read together starting on page 10. Else, if not being liberated by the power of meditating on justice, the Bardo of fundamental reality arises after the inner breath ceases. Sounds, colors, and lights of the arrival of body and mind fill the billion world systems. They are our own appearances. May we understand this.
다들 같이 요리 다 가정을 좀 마치고 정말도 템기 요리와 다들 많이 엠바다 초랑기 요리요 딜이다 베는다 이디 워세가나 초마도 비나 딜이 양 나와 차는 요리스 나와 같이 요리는 다 타보니 토로와 니토도 가정 가르디 나람로와 나람 되네 딜이야 치발라 되네 가서 말람 되네 Chibala malam, didn't nawala, didn't it?
Nirto.
Ah,
Nirto.
no. On you thought the tambour
Oh, the reverse.
reverse
Oh,
one.
okay.
When you talk Gabla, Naglam Rova, Naglam, Tene Chibala, Tene Malam, Tene Nawala, number Hiwana, Nawala, Tene Galam, Charnetine. 군도 제스티드 가상되기 때문에 용무배 때문에 가서 해당게 똑같이 요리 숨속송 로작 똑같이 쉽주 대목 똑같 등등도 한 거예요.
So as was mentioned, what happens, there's these stages of dissolution that we refer to as either the white out, the red out, and the black out, or appearance, increase, and near attainment. So there's like a blackout, and then the clear light luminosity dawns. And if it's recognized, then there's liberation, there's enlightenment in that moment. If it isn't recognized, then because like what has happened is all the 80 thoughts of afflictive emotions have come to a halt. But then what happens if like there isn't recognition is that they go again in reverse order, and the 80 concepts connected with the afflictive emotions arise again. So it goes from like the near attainment or blackout to the red out or increase. To the red, he wasn't sure about the word blackout, like what's happening there. But what it means is it's like, actually in Tibetan, it's it's the word is lam, but which means path. So like the black path.
Sure.
Sometimes it says the black path, the red path, the white path. But I think the black out, red out, and white out is the best translation because it's talking. What happens is those colors, like it's like completely black, right? And then it's like completely red, and then it's like completely white. So and then with each of these, so first with the blackout or near attainment, then the 33 afflicted concepts connected with the afflictive emotion of anger, like, come into being again. They start up again. And then with the red out or increase, you have the 40 concepts that are connected with the afflictive emotion of craving or desire. And then with appearance or the whiteout, you have, it's the reverse. It was the reverse. The blackout, you have the 7 concepts connected with ignorance or unawareness. And then with the red out, the 40 concepts connected with desire. And then with the whiteout or appearance, the 33 afflictive emotions connected with anger, or concepts that connected with the afflictive emotions.
Physical you married Ludela, the Yi Harm was our. But to Yi Harmicala young as a Tandanayi, Tenetic Satan, Choton, Tene, made long Tene Latine, sorry, you know, the Tom Bicala young, Tene Tandaterita, Tamboti in Sarva, and the long Hamdalam, long Carsaco, long Shambuta, Carsaco.
Draw like trouble. Enemy.
Bardo, the long way or the long gela, made a water, Carson, not so cheap one name. Tendige, the order. Tigana, you get in it, chew, better than chew, or in the order. Then a sati, sat tabano, so what any help you what it is.
So then what happens? So now we move into the experiences of the Chuni Bardo or the Bardo of Dharmata, or here it's translated as the Bardo of fundamental reality. But what happens is also like, so you have the reverse of the inner elements, kind of coming of the dissolution of those inner elements, kind of coming back, the 80 concepts connected with like discursive or afflictive emotion. And then just like we had the breakdown of the elements of the physical body leading up to the moment of death, now we're in the Bardo. So it's not a physical body, but we end up assuming a mind emanated body. We have an illusory body, like a mind projection body. And so there is there's like the reverse order of coming back of these elements, not to create like the physical body, but a body, a mind-emanated body, a Bardo body. So you have the arising again of these elements of, in reverse order, consciousness, wind, fire, water, earth. And so when those arise, they arise as what is the term in Tibetan is like that they arise as enemies. So there's the feeling of kind of frightening experiences when they come that are connected with these elements when they arise. So for instance, with wind, it's like sort of ferocious wind, cutting winds, and sounds of howling, whistling wind, and then with fire, it's like crackling and burning and kind of, like a raging sort of fire. And with water, it's like, rushing water, or sort of like, the water of like a hurricane, or, sort of turbulent, stormy water. And then with earth, like landslides or earthquakes, that kind of thing. So it can be a frightening experience.
That meeting in the be born, that hasn't the Padona like your name, yours.
This sepe bardo, Chuni bardo.
chuni fata padu na lep girawa.
Yeah, oh, okay. So then you're born into the bardo, like essentially into the Chuni bardo, like as a bardo being.
Tande chido di na, ta ti na bon kharcha gorsna tene, bon him mado na no chine, chuni fata shars ta lusam ta te karsan tene ta kita lusam Kirby dog sir some years. Stop. Tanda ti na do page na.
Oh. Digi ganga, right? I think that's a look, sorry.
What I tell a cardi love does not. Listen to the dogs or something. Don't come king, but now
Is there some?
here but horse to do.
Oh. Come on, Papa.
Listen to the dogs or something.
Yeah, okay, so as it says sounds, colors, and lights of the arrival of body and mind, like into the Zersum gare. Oh yeah. Kungi yangdi tongsum gijitin to your
Okay, that take cardi lana. I
don't know about the billion world systems. That does not seem, that's not in the Tibetan. Yeah, okay.
That is chuni ranga sonda. Chuni kitene, ta rank wu chuni kitene, round la. Tele tongsam tamji. Ale di labori wu, tongsam chabana yi labos.
Oh, yeah.
Tene tongsam chabana yi yores. Tene te karsi.
Oh, okay. No, there is the tongsum. Okay, there is. Okay, there is the billion world system.
Tene chuni karanda telata. Bedan do kda tongta chabana yi datin tagres.
But what it is that there is this sensation of like all pervading sounds and colors and lights.
Okay, that love teaching but so.
Lamien, got it.
Chuni rangu tela wu tongsam chabana yi.
And so it's as if there are like self-resounding colors, sounds, lights, like as if they're just like resounding throughout the billion-fold. Didn't you?
Chuni rangu tela tele tongsam chabana yi yores. Da wu sersum la da.
Oh, didn't the Chipo?
Yeah, Ujibola. Chuni Rao, the Latin, Tom Chapana, yours.
So first there's light, and it's like the light of the Chuni Bardo, or kind of a powerful light that like fills the entire 3 billion-fold world systems.
Then Chuni Karandas. Chuni Datala, then a carriorsena, and drop Tonkatana yores.
Drupton. And then there is the pervading of, like, or resounding of the sound of Dharmata, the self-resounding sound of Dharmata, which is really loud, kind of like pervading everywhere, like 1,000 dragons.
Tennis cells on that certainly cells are the Tajik, also curriculum, Unare, telecarcenagic, Tajik, when experience, then a certain line at a day, lining the water, when a dedo yona dikete, dado yido, tendo, Manda Jana dike, dado, to the yore is self, telectro yourself.
So then there's this thing that's called Zer, which I think is I think he translated so he translated sounds, colors, and lights, but But actually there, sometimes could be light, but actually, Drupon and I had a conversation about this morning. It's a word that really I don't think exists in English because it isn't exactly sound and it's also not like light, but it's kind of like a sensation. So the example that he gave is like when like a bullet shoots past someone and there's like a, but it's not the sound. It's not referring to the sound. It's kind of like this sort of cutting.
Or wind or something like sound. Not really sound, but like wind. It can be like a sound, but also we can using the knife, like the sword, like this.
Like when somebody
like
cuts the
really
air with a sword.
Then they kind of like, they're kind of sort of like web, the sound of web. Like
But it's obviously something that's different from sound because it says sound as a different word.
Right, not really sound, but it's kind of mix the sound and the feeling, right?
Would that be a sensation?
He was saying a sensation before when
right.
we were talking about it. Yeah, he said feeling.
So people sort of like, okay, they may be shooting the, ball, this very close, so sort of like feels, the sensation, something, even though not hit the ball in the body, but they feel like where this power. That means kind of like power of the whatever weapon or lightning or whatever, this kind of like power. Not exactly hit the body, but the energy hit. So they call it self. So I think that is the more, because in the Bardo is more afraid, those kind of thing,
It's more of one is more afraid.
Right, so kind of like, and also light is just kind of, light is too bright, so like kind of, you cannot see anything, just kind of like too bright in light, and then it's kind of like noisy, so these days, I don't know, these bombs, whatever, too, like kind of like this noisy, but like kind of shaking, like powerful, so that's,
This is the frightening part, right?
Yeah. But this is, so depending, so that is, actually this is all the nature.
Right.
But if you realize the nature, okay, so like happy, or this just coming now, that this is my sound, my light, my whatever this here. But if you not realize, you're not familiar, the Bardo, then yes, scary, worry, like, Tirana yita tishula, tenida teri, chuni karanzo, ta rantila, Mazoda than the Katsan or the Bardo Todokanana, Tangazo, Shiva Hichizani, Changdonga Chizaji, Zilitine.
Bardo, young char, sorry, not big on test Tom Chigu, Karina Mishi. So Bardo Todo Nana Kare.
Bardo Todo Naliorwa, Tene, La, and Tambarija, Tene, Shiva Hichizani, Chambonga Chizaji, La Sobayores.
Down Barija, down.
Tambarija said the Karijayor, La Diayorwa, the Latini Hakosoni.
Yeah.
To share yours. That Tambo de Carsina, Manchejik, and the Jawaring Kla, Tigano Yikla Hivatuzolakni, Ungrela Budoa.
Yeah, so this is also where, for instance, as you may be familiar in the Bardo Todro, when it talks about like the appearance of the 100 peaceful and wrathful deities, so like the different expressions of the deities of the 5 and lights and so forth of the 5 Buddha families, and so yeah.
First, Tila Tambo. TV don't show you, so I'm guessing, but I'm not sure.
He's guessing that it's maybe like what we like seeing images on a TV.
Or TV or slideshow, what is slideshow?
It's like a slideshow.
Right? So this first, this the peaceful deities, you can see that's kind of natural, like automatically. So then, if we familiar the deity, so this is okay. Maybe quickly, or lucky. Also, they said the East Pure Land. Also, the Pure Land also appears. So East Pure Land is harder because too short. And then this South Pure Land.
Southern Pure Land.
Yes, okay, so this East Pure Land is what called among this Shobia Pure Land is very short, and then Southern Pure Land is Renjunde or Sambhawa is short, and also this
Also short.
Northern too. But longest is the Amitabha.
So
West
are you guys
Pure Land
getting
is
that?
longer. So
What he's saying is that these images that are connected with these pure realms, they all, except for the pure realm of Buddha Amitabha, only appear for a very short time. So it's harder to recognize them. But the longest one is the pure realm of Amitabha, Sukhavati, stays longer. So there's more chance to recognize.
that tiga kanda kang so familiar yona tiga ina.
And if there's recognition, if one can recognize when that shines forth, that image, those images, then one's consciousness can be liberated in that pure realm that you have recognized. So each of the Buddha fields of the 5 Buddha families appear to the consciousness. Peaceful days. And then if there's not recognition of the peaceful deities, then the wrathful deities appear. And most of them have animal heads.
That is all I think about the story do the Bardo Toru nam Kanigosina, Nyama Mijigla, Bardo Toru, Lord de Gabla, Coranso that now Amaina Karina, Pomoina, Chalo Bigabla, got a Bardo to do the Carlo Borsena, Harbichon, Rungo chance, the young, that logo Sarva, the law Bigabla. More dictated low and yard yourself sending. Then young got more Bardo, non Jane, and then Canadian, some more bay, some more rat or to hear your him. Yeah, Tama data, Gungo gentle at the Gabla, carry some
pigeon. So there's a story that there was someone who was dying in Tibet, and there were many like lamas who were doing practice for the person who had died, and they were reciting the Bardo Todro, and there was either a woman, an old woman or a young woman? We're not sure. Anyway, so a woman who was either old or young, and she came in and offered tea, to the people who were doing the practice. And she heard something about a pigeon-head deity, the pigeon-headed deity, and she was like, and it just like stuck in her mind, she was like, oh, that's odd, or, and she just, as she was offering tea. And then later when she died and was in the Bardo, there were all these images, like scary images that were appearing to her, but then when the pigeon-headed deity appeared, she remembered and was able to recognize that it was a deity and was liberated.
Well, that thing, this story, but I don't know how to do like more here going at it. Kitchen was like, getting 10, like image in those here going kitchen was this.
So for that reason, like recognizing the deity, knowing their mantras, knowing their names, like it can be really important.
rāng chūni ihe ngō hi hios.
So then, bottom of page 10, we can read together. Large and small spheres of rainbow lights, the path of light and peaceful and wrathful deities, whichever assemblies arise, along with the sounds of fundamental reality itself, without fearing them, may we recognize the self-knowing wisdom of the fundamental reality.
어다 디니 다타나 공슈가 나이다. 이 파도를 kumdi 요기나 근데 직 달라 소소나 해당 초고데 그 랑크 주기 요로와 랑크하 근데 담바리 잡고 다 창로와 랑크라 랑크세 근데 이 마시나 근데 희망 요마로 당가 저 희나제야 유제 현질 생요로 파리를 집도 근데 다 공고chen 근데 다 second question telig do la na tanga tu yo la tu ne ta hego o pa hi na so ji do ta sa ne hego wa ye na ya ta so sa ma ra li ba he na rang ku chu ni ku o wi na rang ku dai na rang ke da te ne ai na rang ka no mo he na te le he na ji na yo ma wa.
So the main thing is that you know, when, for instance, one is in the Bardo and there are these lights and sounds and sensations, then the main thing is to recognize that it's our own mind, that, you know, that they're like self-arising, you know, projections of our own mind, because when they're seen, and then we can recognize them as like deities, but when we have a sense of like dualistic grasping in that moment, and it's like they're external things, you know, then there's fear, and then that just like the fear intensifies, you know, with the fear. Mm-hmm. And so then like the delusory, like the delusional, you know, then it becomes delusion, and then there's further and further delusional experiences that follow.
Thế thì đó chỉ tao chua nhị ràng ra chia là mất thả bảo sẽ ràng ra chua nhị ý khi ngô khi hiểu thì đó.
So as it says, along with the sounds of fundamental reality itself, without fearing them, may we recognize the self-knowing wisdom of fundamental reality. So it's hard. Okay, I just have to say this term. This is why I just say Chuni Bardo. Because when you say fundamental reality, it sounds like the true nature, which is kind of confusing, which I guess it is, but it's like, you know, it is different from, say, when we're talking about like the clear light luminosity shining forth, which is what I think of as fundamental reality. So these terms are just really tricky. I just want to share that. I mean, it is how you can certainly translate this Chuni as fundamental reality, Dharmata, but it is, but it's kind of like specific to this Bardo. Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Do we have any control over the Bardo body?
Like, can we direct
Can we
it?
move it?
Yeah.
Is it just floating along with it?
가리세.
Penangato di Bardo yilu yorwa. Teningato ramang yorwe yilu. Teningato yang di gergi zupo yambanang shin tenda di huchu che tu gyore dro tu gyore kandere.
Really. Okay, so this is two things. That the tambo de la pardola no is that
Yilu.
yilu de hansa is yilu.
Yeah, so there is the body can definitely like move around and do different things in the
this
Bardo.
very quickly, okay.
And in fact, very quickly.
Right. Ambo kunsan tomi juice. Ambo chatan sayores da.
So you do have the feeling that all your senses are intact with this illusory body.
그가 나긴 줘야 되나? 저런 가와 되는 레벨이스.
And in fact, like what happens with the Bardo body is that if you think of something, then like in that very instant, like if you think of a place, for instance, like then you have the sensation of like going to that place.
배는 단단하고 있나? 사견지 나나 India let's
So like in 1 second, if you remember India, like boom, in 1 second you're in India.
어다디 이나야다 텔라 카르세나 뭐 마히나 라마요 말이스.
But you don't really have control. Like if there's not recognition, then you're not really in control of your body.
테네디 이나양 다 단다텔라 너저기 당기 공티거나 냠내 챙겨 있나? 총알라는 게 다가 전화기를 찍고 직장 거나 추치 대바치 냠내치 되네 바도나를 되는 거라다 삼지 미자비 그거 요레스.
But if you're a practitioner,
그 다음 쪽으로 내 남이야 요리 그와도나 라마 요레스. 뭐시나?
But if you're a practitioner, you do have more control. So like, and very much like if you're really, if you have
situation right now.
more control than we do now even, because, it's like you have faith, you have devotion, like you're practicing Dharma, and the power of the mind is so immense in those conditions, that you can, kind of like manifest intentionally whatever you want to in that state. But if not, then you're kind of disoriented and there's a whole bunch of uncertainty. It's like uncertain what will happen or what will appear, what will occur, where you'll go.
Thank you.
Or maybe you have questions more?
Are there more questions?
Yes.
So it sounds to me, and I'm very limited in my understanding, but it sounds to me like the karmic winds are just propelling us through the Bardo. And it is up to us to continue to practice recognition, not to give in to any attachment to anything that's occurring as substantial or real. And if we can invoke the Lama or the seed syllable or the deity of any kind, that would be some security or some acceptable attachment, which would not necessarily navigate us, because our karmic winds are going to produce whatever's going to arise is going to arise because of that. But you're saying that we could, like, if we saw Dewa Chan, we could, with identification, we could come out of that, even regardless of our karmic propensities.
So sorry, I keep forgetting to also repeat. It's challenging to repeat questions to sing. So what was asked is that it seems like, what happens at this stage in the Bardo is really like pretty much you have no control. Your karmic winds are just propelling you through this experience that's all based on your karmic winds. And so as practitioners, then it seems like the practice is to not respond with attachment to whatever it is that might occur or arise, as like karmic manifestation in that experience, but to really keep your mind on either the Lama or a deity or seed syllable, and that this, even if this is like a form of attachment, that it's a positive, beneficial, helpful attachment in that moment, and and then I may admit, I don't know, let me know if I missed some aspect of that part of the question, but then she said, and then when the pure realms show themselves, or when the deities of the five Buddha families appear, like, and for instance, Dewa Chan is longer, there's more of an opportunity to recognize. If it's recognized, then you just are able to kind of detach from your karmic, lens and instead go to the pure realm. Is that the question?
Yeah, if
Yeah.
despite your karmic wins, you would get that. Maybe that is part of your karma, I don't know, that you would recognize.
Yeah, it is. So first of all, yes, it is. It's all karma, and you're propelled by your karma. But it's not, but it's not completely like you have no opportunity or control independent of your karma.
But that's all in life. That's all life under control. Attachment, worry, teenaging at the song, the chupaina, down to Shadow, down to Shadow, go to China, not so control Malaya, Loja, Malaya. Teenage candy not Tanasi, Martin, not to call Chami or one. Yene and Timbikin, Yom, but the Datam Chila. Tene, Tanda down to Shadow, say, you be now. Tene, not so 100%, pardon on it, Ramayor is that catching water.
But what really determines independence is the quality of our practice during our life. So mainly, if we really practice well while we're alive, and we get to the point where we have control while we're alive, meaning we can direct our mind where we want to and like place it, like we can place it on something if we want it to be there, and we can remove it from something if we don't want it to be there. There's this term in Tibetan for that. Like you can place your mind where you want it to be placed and stay there as long as you want to stay there, and remove it, at will, sort of. It's basically about the ability to abide with concentration and with intention, for instance, not to fall under the control of afflictive mind states. So for instance, if anger arises and we're immediately able to, dispel that anger intentionally, to not follow after the anger, or so during our lifetime, if we're able to get to the point where we have that kind of control over the mind, then we will be able to have more freedom and control during the time of the Bardo.
All right. So mainly is actually, one hand is we thinking, well, maybe this Bardo is truly different, country or different state, but not really. Because our mind, So we are alive, and then you cannot control, or, yourself, or powered by, attachment or worry or scary or kind of really stone dualistic concept. If we have, then of course in the Bardo is same thing. There is situation more challenges, But if we are alive, so I said, so we are. Because we are born here, we have attachment, anger, jealousy, worry, so on. Because of that, we are here. But if we're able to control those afflictive emotions comes, we can manage, we can control, not stuck, completely. So some people, we see how much angry they kill themselves, so there's no control, But we able to manage right now on afflictive emotions, then same thing in the Bardo. Maybe there's some different experience, but you can manage, you can recognize, you can handle, So that's also, yes, of course, it is karma, So that's karma means, So we think something, karma is totally different, something, karma brings. So not really karma or whatever merit, karma, or its own mind. So really is the continuation, this life able to control the afflict emotions. There's no difficulty in Bardo. So if you life, so very confusing, then maybe Bardo is confusing too. So yeah.
If your life is very confusing, the Bardo will probably be very confusing.
And so did I hear correctly, karma is your mind? I mean, that makes sense.
He said that in
Yeah.
English, yeah,
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
so
I
karma is no different.
Yeah.
So interesting, this what called this, our mind is like, the temporary, we have like a good or bad, in the mind, collection there. So like whatever this ChatGPT, so we have collection, so good or bad, but in the mind,
like all our karmic seeds are stored in our mind.
Right. So that's a karma, so if a good thing, your mind goes the next destination, so this you're okay, So like interesting. So also we call, I think, we are guests now, this life, we living here, and then so next we move to another guest house, So but same person. Okay, this guest house, this 4 bedrooms, whatever, But then if you move to this another guest house, it's yours, maybe this 3 bedrooms or whatever, but still
It's still your mind.
you
So you
is
still have the same
not,
karma.
you first get your person, or next to you move another guest house, but yours not change.
Wherever you go there.
Right, so that's so then this also this you coming, whatever called karma, mind, or all the with you, merit, so on.
But it seems to me like the difference is like, we might feel like, a certain way now because our conditions are relatively pretty good, but our mind might be like if our karma ripens in such a way that we have really horrible conditions or something really, really challenging, we don't necessarily know how our mind is going to be in that circumstance. So, right? The guidance in a penatati, sonam tes mingura, ini angkar si chin, miamba, do chatna. Penangato lay wang lay gi wang la tene. Ngato sim gane chakres. Hako ya yomanawa.
Mari mata tanda ko le tila ko continuation do growa.
So
Tanda
he
tu
said,
tanda tu mo ba tu growa. Tanda ma tu mo ba tu mo particular ma sharing we kabla tu na ten is kaborwa. Ina hiwi kabla mantuina ten keo marwa.
yeah, so what he I'm not sure and I think that what I am trying to say is that to me it seems like there's still sort of uncertainty that we wouldn't necessarily, if like certain karmic things still, like the situation ripens as such, like we could be very frightened, for instance, or angry or whatever. But he was saying there is kind of this continuation, right? Like if we're not confused now, then then there won't be confusion in the Bardo. But if we are susceptible to confusion now, then there's more susceptibility to confusion in the Bardo.
Right. So even this time, so we said, like we story one woman, the story about one woman recognized the one deity, only one deity. So his life, he remember whatever the monks reading, so kind of he had karmic input in the mind of this deity, so he died, he remembered.
She was able to remember just hearing it once.
Right, so we are, one hand is, actually we are lucky, so we have a lot of practice, and we have devotion, we have faith, not complete, but so this is kind of like tremendous merit, so also this, I think the Buddha's love story, And the benefits, even though you like how much benefit, you say on many women or single, recitation. So eventually you can go achieve enlightenment. But we are more than one, how many women already, so we are. So then we are okay, But we say, oh, now maybe we're okay, but keep going the practice. And I think, so really is the one hand is just we familiar with this situation, Bardo and so on, we have to understanding. But actually we are enough to better life, next Bardo is better, and next life is better, we have enough merit. So we not sure we achieve enlightenment. That's.
Oh, so you mean we were pretty? So I think he's saying we're pretty good. We're gonna be okay. Yeah. That if we have a lot of merit, so maybe we won't attain enlightenment. Maybe we won't become Buddhas in the Bardo, but probably we will continue going up in merit. Is what you're saying? Better than this life. Our next life will be better than this life.
Right. So even like I said, many women who want how much beneficial,
Yeah.
This stupa story, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the pig.
What's
Yeah. So this, I think during the Buddha time, so this one guy, he want to become monk. And then and that time is he want to become monk or whatever. Yeah, they have become monk. So as to the Sharipuddara, so Sharipuddara is a killer boy, so so Sharipuddara said, oh, you cannot become monks because of you no merit, So then, so he got kind of consistently, then this Mongayana.
The guy was very persistent.
Yeah, persistent. The Mongayana, he said, oh, I want to become monk. He said,
The guy said to Mogayana, I want to become a monk.
Yeah, Mogayana said, no, you cannot become a monk because you know merit, And then he asked the Buddha, so Buddha, I become monk. So Buddha said, okay, yeah, fine, you can become monk. So then they said, what? They're going on, so Mogayana, cheap disciple Mogayana, and Sharipuddara said, no, you know merit. The Buddha said, yes. So they asked the Buddha, yeah, the Mogayana and the Sharipuddara is the kind of like
they can only
see.
So they were arhats, and they could only see like 500 lifetimes into the past.
Yeah. Don't know, but he said the Buddha said before the 500 lifetimes, he was one time he was born in the pig.
He was born once as a pig.
And then, so the dog, I think this is Buddha.
At that time.
Buddha, so dog chasing the pig.
Chased the pig.
So pig incidentally circumambulation in a stupa. There's no motivation.
He didn't have a motivation, but he circumambulated.
So that is this is merit.
That became the.
So now the ripening his merit. So he said he is this time. He's not only become monk, but he is this life. He's become arhat. He become monk. He become arhat. So that's I said this merit. So. So there we maybe not much worried about it.
Good news, good news.
Optimism.
Okay, so.
Can I ask a quick question?
Okay, sure.
Okay, just one. I'm just thinking about the karma. So the karma at the time of death, is that karma that we have accumulated from past lives and this life that we are able to cleanse and purify before we, at the time of death? In other words, it's going to read all of that karma, and if we have been able to cleanse or purify any of that, it's our benefit before we die. In other words, it's our benefit to clear our past karma from our
Oh,
past
as much
lives
as we
and
can
clear
purify
as much
now.
karma, because at the time of death, when we talk about the obscuration of karma comes, I'm assuming that would be past life karma and this life karma, everything we've accumulated till that time. Does that make sense?
So I think what I'm hearing you say is during our lifetime, then it is in our best interest, is it not, to purify as much karma as we can.
Right.
So that then at the time of death, there's less karmic obscuration
opportunity,
from
yes.
this life or from any number of former lives.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Tani penanga so nune
단체 딜라
se dila tanda de le
디바잖아.
Tibe dikba jangna ke chimbo yojere gayan sana pena le yang de shiwe kala le ge yang lung yorwa tini nune chine pena nga so mitse de la gare che bayena mitse mumala yang gare che bayena tini yang tesa gatse dikba da tu na pache pentok chimbo yojere marebe.
Yes, of course. Ati tele jana ta not bardo marwa ina ta kharsi na so ji. Difa jang tho bi no sanji gro.
So not just in terms of the bardo, but like as much as we can purify our karmic negativity, then the closer we are to enlightenment.
As well. Okay. Thank you.
That the kartanga ji yang chola bi ro ta nga so the most important part that and that chu nyam na khachi undri do jerem bu yo na re zonem bu yo na re. Yina yang nga so da I think maybe the obstacle making calm is where but much we ngola tene ko parchi yunga ke khari ore la bina jetanda te karma ya bo na parchi yung marwa yimbi na ya ta thanda ko preparation de aso thanda la subo thambo yo be kabla tene ta komja ya bena sanje ten ya ta la ma the ko na to ten ya ta be ke chen bo de dos be yang ne yang to ko ra ji ka chang la bro ma so ko be jesus la ka wi na ko ten de ya ten ji tene yo be na tene ke so ma sa Tempo big young pista cook, she would make all of two cigarette, temporary in a yanjishna, good karma in the co, Hitavigila, that to Marwa. In a young mashi be Mula Masu. Not on my own yard, Gangi my own yard, Tanda the stone karma in 20 years at kitchen ways of this.
So yeah, the most important thing he's saying is that right now, you know, during our life is kind of our opportunity to like do as much as we can while our conditions are good, we're healthy, we're strong, we're, you know, to really use the opportunity to practice while we're alive. As he mentioned, you know, the generation completion stages, to purify negative karma, to meditate, to develop faith in towards the Buddha, towards our spiritual teachers, and to really create very, very strong imprints for Dharma practice. Because yeah, when we die, you know, the better our karmic lot is, then the less delusion there will be at the time of death. But we also will have really created a very strong imprint to turn, you know, for our mind to go toward the wholesome, which will will really work toward our benefit at the time of death in the Bardo. And it will be less difficulty, less suffering.
So what I read, or my understanding is the 100 peaceful and wrathful deities, right? Mm-hmm. So while we're, you know, in this body, they reside within us, but they're dormant. Mm-hmm. So first of all, is that correct? And what are they doing there? And why do they? and then why do they? You know, what's the idea behind revealing themselves in the Bardo?
For people on Zoom, Brennan's question was that he understands that what he's heard is that the 100 peaceful and wrathful deities actually reside within us, like in our body. Mm-hmm. but they're like dormant. So why? What are they doing? And then also when we die, why is it that they reveal themselves then?
That picture when 183 years samaris. 183 years samaris.
So he said it's maybe not like the enumeration of the 100 deities.
Color.
They're not 100.
No, 100 is.
There's more.
There's limitless.
Yeah. So that it's not limited to 100 to the 100 deities.
Well, that explains it. You're missing a few.
That hilwa, ngazo de karsena, ta ngazo de jiten di na mato bingola de na ko chu se jig mato yomar wata. Ko de mato mendo wa. Mendo wi na de lo samo dan do wa.
So like in the world, when we have like dualistic grasping, sense of self, and then in juxtaposition from, to the self, there's other. So there's like me and you and him and her. And so like we have, people are like designated as individuals.
Tinita, penetration, top in the kabla, the zone, no do you know, Lama, Around his sympathetic parade or love with Doa. In that teller, color was cut from your lama. Then a lot of tie on Marwa, and a lama down, Marie Conde, Sanjay down, Rangi semi nibode, Chigina, or Chig Chaguna. Tell us Sanjay limitless Sanjay. Tinita tell progressive the quality to us with your days.
So actually it's like, so when we say like our mind and the mind of the Lama are in invisibility, or like Buddha, like our mind is no different from the mind of the Buddha, that the essence of our mind, is the same as the enlightened one, minds of all the Buddhas. If that is the case, then the expression of that is limitless.
Buddhas.
And so there are limitless Buddhas that pervade everywhere.
So limitless Buddhas in the no different our mind. So there I said no more than the 100 deities.
Right, limitless.
Yeah, limitless.
Wow.
What that thing do not to take person. Do you take thing that do you need something not do you take thing la? Then do time ever better. Here come time ever your days here.
So as is said, in a single atom, there are Buddhas as limitless as atoms.
Right. Yeah.
So there are like countless Buddha fields within Buddha fields within. It's just it's inconceivable. Does that answer it?
So, why do we call them deities? Because they're Buddhas?
Well, deities and Buddhas are the same.
Basically the same.
Yes.
Okay. So right now we're filled with infinite, inconceivable Buddhas. We all are. And so.
Yoris. In a young, see the master, young, in a young, also same time. Also did delusion or
But at the same time, we don't recognize it because of our delusion.
So that's the
we don't see it as such.
Right,
yeah.
And so how is the 100-syllable mantra connected to these 100 peaceful and wrathful deities, or isn't it?
I'm not sure this is 100, the mantra in the 100 deities, but this Vajrasattva is the chief of the...
Is the chief of the 100
deities.
Oh.
So I'm not sure 100 syllables, maybe they're related to 100 deities, I don't know.
Okay.
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, but man is the kind of, every deity is kind of emanation
Of Vajrasattva.
Vajrasattva.
Got it. Okay. Interesting.
So, if you don't mind, so how does Nunye help purify karma? Just by
Numne.
Nunye, just by renouncing attachment, or? how do prostrations, how does mandro, how do all of those things?
Okay. I think two answers, okay?
Oh, the question, sorry, and I have to repeat the question, was how does Nyungne purify, the practice of Nyungne purify karma, or in general prostrations, or really Ngundro, or any purification practice for that matter, how does it actually purify karma?
다 기타 상지 송요레스 추치 본부 제티동 베몬부 송요레스 이내 양다 다 담지 직다 다당 강사제 주랑가 소배난 냠내 제야데 디스 카보로와 이벤도 스타디 카보로와 티인데 다른 가서도 송도와 배조와 직다 송공게 되네 추지 본부 제티동 닝보두바 송도와 닝보데 갈두샤요레스나 된다다가 문로티 차디오레스 다 문로티 기능에 담보 치기다 로도나 바히는 거네 개침을 쉬어와 벤조지물이 자침부 임바 다 디나네 개체 효도다 남가 때와가 전로야들 레전드로와 다디 하고야 돼 빼마시 개침으로 와 대창초 봐오 되네 대가 나 얘기했더니 내가 발라서 대인들 좋아하는 경송고 갈송고라나 강사 직 상제위 치도 소인 스타트에서 유나 티초바 메나 탑차고스 유나 전화티 배나 찾아지 온도 찾아짐 찾아간데 온도 더 제바 양내지나 상제기레스 강사지 상제보다 더 참고를 정도와 온다데스
Meaning on the chitang the lay janya chipo the shugirawa kande lay.
보다 뒤기다 레장 그러다 레장고나 다 데리가서 상제고나 레장고래 소남소고래 되네 레장에서는 기부 그 많이 봐 대 찾아진 거 보면도 그러와 어때 이렇게 대차는 상제 레스
So the Buddha taught the 84,000 different categories of the Dharma, and yet for one individual to like realize, or to study, practice, and especially like realize all of these different 84,000 categories of Dharma is difficult. So Lord Jigten Sungun says that the essence of all of the 84,000 teachings of the Buddha are contained, in the practice of the preliminaries, essentially. And so, it's like, especially for instance, like they're very important, is contemplating the common, or practicing the common preliminaries, the four thoughts to turn the mind, contemplating the difficulty of achieving a precious human rebirth, and most important among these, sometimes it is said, are karma, cause and effect, and impermanence. You also have the defects of samsara. So for any Buddha, or for any person, individual to attain the state of Buddhahood, then Lord Jigten Sungun says, if that if one has it, it is most supreme. If without it, then there's no method. And so in practicing essentially the progressive stages of the path, or whatever practice it is, it serves two functions. And these are these two functions that lead to full purification and awakening. So it is like any virtuous practice, it becomes a gathering of merit, a gathering of the two accumulations, and it serves to purify obscurations. So that's what we're doing with all of the practices that we do. It's like that practice, the effect of that practice is twofold: gathers the accumulations and purifies obscurations. And the result of it is finally Mahamudra. That's like the goal.
제니다 저기 전송공 다른 내가 지효지 갈송 요래 남나 현지 미자반은 데르사 송래 다 현바도 좋게 사보치기 면도 되는 게 기대다 대칼라고 그랬으나 레준데 코르니메 로고만 바히디 다 대히나 되네 다 디큐 파운데이션 되유나 저 자자 첨보이나 조자 조바 첨보이나 되네 다 랑과 또도 그래서 그래 대마이나 탐보공도 오가 조찬도 오지 로이라나 되게 말해서 그래 배나서 그래 환총 너 생긴 총살라 환총도 말해서 그래 가르치는 것도 탐보공을 야배나 조찬도 오지 라면 다 가야 보고 말해 되네 개와지나 편도요 말에 메게지나 노바요 말에 놀라나 되게 말와 이는 그 얘기 티 레버 렘나는 되게 와 어떻게 이다 좋은 지금 성공게 현지면서 많은 데서 쓰여 내가 잘 되거든요.
So also Lord Jigten Sungen says, what others to be consider to be insignificant, I consider to be the most profound. Or what others consider to be less significant or less important, I consider to be the most profound. And so what he was referring to is Mundro, the preliminary practices. So and the preliminaries primarily being actually the common preliminaries, the 4 thoughts that turn the mind, because that's the foundation of all Dharma practice. If one doesn't have like a really firm footing in the preliminaries and then wants to practice Mahamudra and Dzogchen, like there's no basis for this. They'll just be unsuccessful because they don't have the foundation. So it's like, as is said, a fox cannot jump the distance of a lion. So the fox can't jump like a lion, it will break its back. And so, there's like the very high level realization of, say, Dzogchen, the danger in that too is like further misunderstanding, further confusion, where, people say things like, there's no benefit in practicing virtue and there's no harm in non-virtue. So in this, so it's so important to have the preliminaries.
It's that level, person in high level, then that's okay, because complete. If you're not, ordinarily, you no need to, marry, you no need to. Doesn't matter now, virtues or virtues. So then this we call, I think, this, Napo Kanjam Slabudoa.
There's like a turn of phrase that's, I don't know how to say it, but anyway, it means there's no benefit, there's just great harm that comes from that.
루던 샘니 보러와 되네 고 related 요리 되네 뉴네 데비 까울라 고지 갈세버레 샘 근원에 빅랩 장야다 되네 그 루지고네요 제가 맞을라 고 칼랑다마다 서비 요리 되네 텐딜라 라 때네 미게와 요리 되어나 있고 다 네카브레나 양 칼랑마서 텔릭 페용 콜리셈이 인자고 대보이노야다 콜리셈이 publication 차비어서 is 인나다 저 체효의 용매의 것은 인지심 뭐라고
And so Nyingme in particular is a practice that also it really employs like body, speech, and mind to purify obscurations of body, speech, and mind. So mainly it's always mind. And when we direct the mind in a wholesome way, and when we, kind of purify our intention with our mind, then that's what is most effective also in directing the body and speech. So then during Nyumne, then you're doing prostrations with the body, which purifies, in particular, obscurations of the body or defilements accumulated through the door of the body. You're reciting mantra with your speech, purifying, obscurations accumulated through the door of speech, and you're also being really restrictive about eating food, so this also serves as like a method of purifying, obscurations accumulated through the door of the body. But so it's like a deep purification of all three, like body, speech, and mind. But the main thing about Nyumne is that it is a profound compassion practice. So it is through the power of compassion mainly that, there's like the accumulation of the gathering of the accumulations and purification of obscurations.
The Mabemo case.
So do we know the life story of Gelong Mapamo?
In the Vegeta, I'm not sure exactly. I think he got leprosy. And then and also just he meditate, practicing a lot. But also he tired. I think it's somebody, I don't know. They try to help cure the sickness, but not working. But then he just kind of fingers just losing, luck.
Her digits were falling.
Right, and then I think then he meditated Jirense and not thinking about herself. And then this is the benefit the sentient beings, like meditate on and on and on. So then the same thing Lord Jittenson come, so then one time just he could look at the finger, just grow the finger.
Her fingers came back.
So this I think Jirense practice.
The power of compassion.
Power of compassion like that. Same thing Lord Jittenson Kong, he has leprosy too. So he first kind of like a bit discouraged, so...
He was discouraged at first.
Yeah, so he said, everybody's died, that's okay, everybody's sick, that's nature. But I am like a bit different, leprosy is not really normal or common, so he sort of, maybe first like a bit kind of discouraged, But then, so he has with statue, like Jiren's statue. So then he just kind of, okay, maybe I die now, or he prepare or die, I'm not sure. But anyway, so I looked at Jiren and say, he has begged maybe Paul to take out the Jiren. He saw Jiren and then look at the Jiren, the statue. And then he kind of arise the like, genuine compassion, not single thought himself. So then he just truly like compassion for sentient beings. So that stage actually maybe 6 hours or something like that, or maybe more 8 hours. So I think different stories. But
different versions of the story.
All right, and then same thing like Mabarmo. So then kind of his tremendous, compassion to sentient beings, but also same time he has experienced like kind of his black substance or something like snakes or out of his body, like. So then sort of like I don't know, this post meditation, whatever, just sort of wake up. He's become normal person. So that's power.
He recovered, yeah.
Yeah, power in the compassion. So we have a short break. 야탈로아 스비 칸네 레종 데블 마도나 스비 파돈 지피 다히에 타마니 타토 야사 솜 탐지 데미 주말 헤버쇼스.
So then the next line, so it's the second line on page 11. If, due to obscurations of karma and afflictions, we are not liberated, the bardo of becoming arises with its 4 fearsome sounds, the 6 uncertain signs, and 3 dreadful hazards. May we recognize them all as illusions lacking in truth.
Dati tagila imbang asun jeng bedahi sayati nak sabaris. Maksudnya jeng bedahi itu kerana yuahi ya long orang telapores.
So we did
Already
actually already talk about the 4 fearsome sounds. So the 4 fearsome sounds are the sounds of the elements. So actually, didn't the Timram Katla Yongyu Samara? Yeah, so when we mentioned them before, I think I may have gotten confused. So we mentioned them in the context of the dissolution of the elements, but actually it sounds like those sounds don't happen then, but they happen now because what's happening is they're arising again.
Teneta mangebi tato dua mangeba da kita general ina mangebi tato yores.
And then there are the 6 uncertain signs.
Teneta
Signs of uncertainty.
ta ko jik namhit kasakata tangila wara namhit kasakata dogurwa. Tendobe kabla nenge pa me baten ko jik ta de kasakala de zenda wodang tang ro wodang da kamba bomba ro da do yosarwa.
So the first of these uncertain things is the uncertainty of like location or place. So what happens for the being that's wandering in the bardo is that there's no certainty, there's a lot of uncertainty about like where you are. And so sometimes it's like you're on a mountain and sometimes you're on a plain and sometimes, in a valley, or like there are all these different locations that the consciousness experiences, so the uncertainty of the place.
Tiga nang ta ten mangi ba zi ji ta ten nga so men na yo te ten za chen bo yo mar ti na yang ji kar se bo de samban da wo tin cho ten da wo ang da wo da men da te is no yo sa ro.
And then it's called the uncertainty of the support. And like what this is that sometimes there's like different, sometimes you're like at a bridge and sometimes there's a stupa or sometimes there's a temple. But it's like very much changing scenery and nothing that you can feel kind of like comfortable or at home, and it's changing and uncertain.
Then job mangi wa ke ji re la ta chi ko ya ti na yi te ne be.
And the uncertainty of like behavior, like or activity. So it is kind of like you're like kind of like a dream, like a dream maybe, where you're like doing one thing in one moment, like this one activity, and then you're in this other place, like doing this other activity, and sort of this uncertainty regarding like conduct or activity.
Right, so that is like a good example of dream. Dream follow me yomarwa.
So it's really like, just like in a dream, we have like, it's like changing scenes, right? That have no logic to it. It's like, one moment you're in this one place doing this one thing, and then the next, you're suddenly in this other situation, in another place, and so it's a lot like that.
Can you say money bars? That same money body, Jeton Koran Katoya, that lower rate to say to Tongo Yasarwa.
So, wait, Karela?
로와르도 세담나 통구요래.
통gyore.
통구요래.
So then there's the also like uncertainty of sustenance. So actually the Bardo being can't eat food, like there's not food. Oh.
세통구요래.
But there's seafood. So they see different, like they see food from like the different, for the beings of the 6 classes of beings.
얘는 사토고요 말이에요.
But they can't eat it.
사막하야 사고. 다 대인도 가서 개체 효제라 대용기도 하다는 바도 가상으로 바도 토로라로 바도 토로 동년들라 가리요세는 내가 제효지 다 니마레레 게 가르치 experience 모두 지려로 제들이 니바데 가르스는 아주 세모 지리다 소르동을 되네. 쇼케이라테네. 세직대야 인공을 세직대야 공발의 세직대로 당서 뭐그러 와 사마들 친질 남네 되는 것도 소스 메타로 어다디 세다 뭐고라 뭐나 것도 그래서 망모나 도 말이에요.
So very important for the people who are practicing for somebody who has died, together with the recitation of the Bardo Todro. There's also like, every day, the people who are practicing for someone who has died offer them food in a capacity that the being who's in the Bardo is actually able to feel nourished by. So for instance, like through prayers of dedication and also substances like actual food substances that are offered to the fire, and then like create smoke. And it is said that through the power of like that, it being smoke, and then also their dedication prayers, that the being in the Bardo is actually able to receive the offering, actually able to be nourished by it.
제가 나 얘기다 가서데
And sorry, they do it 3 times a day, so morning, noon time, and evening.
제가 나 얘기다 가서 되게 지겨래 보라 지그래 근데 소라고 있나다 뭐 코랑 카르가비나 코비노다 가서 칼라베 뭐고 말와 코랑 칼라카르가비나 티소노 디스티스페나 플레 충충 나말로 지 텔만동 코랑라서 노가 만동의 진압 진질람로 그와 진발람로 그 토그 말와 만동 코라 토쇼 사바치 되네 가서다 데디케이션 코라치
and also for so like in Tibet there's the tradition of like arranging a little plate with the food that the person that the person who's died particularly likes, and then reciting Mani mantra, like blessing the food, because if you don't bless it then they won't be able to receive it. So blessing the food mainly through like recitation of the Mani mantra, and then having the thought or the intention, may the person who's in the Bardo be able to receive this, and like doing the dedication, and then they're able to have the experience of being able to like take that food.
that 제가 나 얘기인데 that's now related. 다 제가 나 얘기마다 총성이 제라 되네 대성벌다 몇 총로구나 세판만 지금 말이에요.
Simgai. So also, this is kind of related, like when somebody that you love dies, it's actually said to be really important not to cry and not to like really show like a lot of grief or lamentation or sadness.
그 드바 maybe 좀 센터들에는 그 기억 모양으로 맞춰서는 간리 크루나 되는 거 하고 있어요. 되네 그 지금 가서라 샘팜 되는 거 되는 야 코로나 샘팜 그랬어요.
So because it's said that at that time, the Bardo beings also very clairvoyant and like can know, and so it's said that, and they see everything. So when like their loved ones are crying and really sad, it makes them really sad.
어디에는 다 뒤차블라 되는 거다. 개와치 고교래서 개와치 많은 동안에.
So much better than grieving and crying is actually practicing virtue, like reciting the Mani mantra, practicing virtue, holding them in your heart with your practice of Dharma.
제가 나니까 traditionally 가서는 가서 들라 공부하라 되니 라마당에 제가 나기 차와리 되는 데서라 되니 초바푸 모노 야로치라 부요레스.
And so that's why, it's really, there's like a big effort on the part of like families who have lost a loved one to, invite lamas, to do prayers, to do practice, to make offerings on the part of the person who has died, on behalf of the person who has died. To invite like, lamas and monks and nuns. Or they go to the monastery and make requests for prayers and make offerings and so forth. So the longest period that a bardo being might wander in the bardo is 3 weeks. No, 7 weeks. Sorry. Yeah, 49 days. 7 weeks. But the third week is considered to be the most important.
transition
So, but each week there's said to be like a transition that happens like kind of at the period of like after each 7 days. And ordinarily there is, and it's uncertain like how it unfolds and how long like for each being, but usually like at the most 49 days. And there is said to be like a chance for the being to be liberated or to rewa.
Yeah, so each week they have transition. So sort of like I think they call it like in the part of sort of like the dead, each week. So, but that means they get chance.
They experience their death each week. You mean?
Yeah, so they chance to the liberation or chance to the born. So no need to stay at the luck in the Bardo. So probably be born, maybe so on. So this chance, so we can pray, aspiration prayers, whatever this we meditate the best is each week is. If you can do, every day it's good, but
at the very least, at the end of each week, each 7 days. And they do like Jitro practice, the Amitabha practice and prayers to be reborn in Dewachan, the confession, the 1,000 Buddhas, what's called Kunrik. So there are a lot of different practices that are specifically done for people who have died and are in the Bardo.
the most important careers now is the kind of aspiration do or that don't know pay the carcena da change samba keda kundu sambu ketene song helpers.
And of the prayers, often what's considered to be like the most important or really, really effective and important and very helpful to the person who has died is the King of Aspiration prayers, or the aspiration prayer for noble, excellent conduct, because it's like comes from the Bodhisattva Samantabhadra.
So that's I think maybe what a couple, I think this kitchen board. Tini, tini, Norzan, Bodhisattva Norzan. So Norzan, I think, Buddha or not sure. In a tinit and I telling us Jambe Young Tini. Tinita, when a chance of 17 and the big pain on your Zachembori, Stendi Lamp tea or what. The tea because Chujan or Zala.
So the Bodhisattva Norzang.
I think no, I think that's the first Buddha teaching, yeah, Buddha tea or this. What are these Sanji Hill? The Chanjo Sambala Zachembori is Chanjo Sem Labia, Labia Yor, what the Permissivity of Boris, Chanjo Sem Labu, Yoris, Chanjo Sem Jangu, Yoris, Chanjo Sem Yamenchi, Yoris, Labiora.
Sula Labiore.
No,
Sanji,
Norzanga.
So the Bodhisattva, so the Buddha said to the Bodhisattva Norzang, like he was saying, it kind of expounding or extolling, the praises of bodhicitta and saying, you should train in bodhicitta, you should practice bodhicitta, you should perfect bodhicitta, and so forth.
Tini Choja Norzang Kota, Na Jango Sari, Tanga Lab Sari, something the Jambe Yang Chin or is. Tanga Labrochi, my Jangi, Candice Jango, the Taparochin the glass of Labrochi Labioris.
So first, really taking this to heart, then the Bodhisattva Norzang came, into the presence of the Bodhisattva Manjushri, and asked him, to teach him, that he's saying, I need to train in this, I need to practice this, so please, teach me what you know.
That means she colors, Choja Norzang, Messia Boris, that GS year on you star, Hansa, Zachem Boris, my silver star, Tanga Pegas on Stature Tindila Cajun Boris, Labioris.
And so Manjushri said that this is so wonderful, I rejoice in your pure intention, it's incredibly wonderful and so special and profound that you wish for this, I deeply rejoice. But then Bodhisattva Manjushri said, but I cannot teach you what you need to know. There's someone else. You need to go to this other master and request it from him. So Bodhisattva Norzang went searching for this other master and took a very long time and wasn't able to find him. And then when he finally did, he was told the same thing. And so he continued like this in the same way, through a great journey that took him through 110, meeting with 110 different lamas, spiritual teachers.
Tin tak korang tin tak ina tadi ko ngaso lami kinga sama ko lami tuyo ina tak ko woni bodhisattva chaku yo sarwa choja norzang korang la tin tama da korang bodhisattva woni chane tin ta da kinga aspiration tin kun sombu kita like last 110 lama tama da kun sombu sumlore sonjuk.
And so this was his journey of becoming a bodhisattva. This was what was needed in order to train him in such a way that then he finally, actually, at the end of this journey, became a bodhisattva. And in his final, the final spiritual teacher that he met with was the bodhisattva Samantabhadra, who then gave him sort of this prayer or the words of this aspiration of noble, excellent conduct, and that is said to be where this originates from.
So this is not really practice, but this resort, what is how benefit, this bodies, the Sava's mind. So that's I think what in that tella not what that telling us to tell out more of the jarbo song or what in it, telajik two to tembat, rebirth, changwala, send your bag maybe 22 days on law.
So then, and so that's why it's called the King of Aspiration Prayers, because it's a very revered aspiration prayer that's really said to be like kind of the most precious, the most profound, the most supreme. And it is said that the benefit of coming into contact with that prayer, seeing the prayer, reciting the prayer, touching the prayer, that any being who has connection with that prayer is inconceivably benefited.
So that means that before the COVID.
No, during COVID.
During the
we
COVID.
had COVID. Yeah, so he taught on the King of Aspiration Prayers. Actually, I think it was during COVID, maybe, I don't remember what year, and we actually had COVID when we were teaching it. He was teaching it over Zoom. And I was translating, and and he taught on the prayer.
Yeah, months we cannot really, right? Yes.
Canela?
Yeah, months take a lot.
It took a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a young guy, he had a long years and she tennis kind of speak every day.
So it was at that time actually that Drupon Rinpoche decided that it was important for us to recite the King of Aspiration Prayer. So there was a group, we started reciting it every night actually online, and then there was like a group of like kind of really dedicated people who just continued to do it every single night, and Danowitz is one of those people. So there's a group of people that meet online and recite the King of Aspiration Prayers every single night.
Since they never met.
Like since that time, which was I guess 2020, right? Yeah.
Oh, that it is.
So there's the uncertainty of food or sustenance. So then there is the uncertainty of companion or friends or companions, because sometimes in the Bardo, like you'll meet somebody or you'll be with someone, but then all of a sudden like they're no longer there, and then maybe you're with some other people, and so there's uncertainty with regard to your company.
That time I did it. Not too many bars on it. Not too many bars on that because we want to be in some that is Chibuyo or some Duboyo or what in it. Not all in your daughter be yourself.
So then there's the uncertainty of kind of like, the word is like how things appear, actually, literally. So it's a little bit like uncertainty of mind states or perception, because like sometimes the Bardo being is like, okay, things are okay, or they feel a little bit like, or like at ease or peaceful or happy. And then the next moment, like, they're really uncomfortable, really struggling, like things are really, painful or just like confusing and hard. So there's just kind of constant changing of like mind state. So then there are the three dreadful hazards, is how it is translated here. And so and so this is connected with the arising of the or kind of like they're particularly connected with the afflictive mind states, the three poisons, the afflictions of the three poisons. which he also said he kind of already mentioned. He said he already explained that. Yeah, so when he talked about, for instance, like when in reverse order, there's the arising again of like the 7 concepts connected with ignorance, the 33 or the 40 concepts connected with desire, and the 33 connected with anger. And there's sort of also in connection with this, like sort of really strange sensations, like falling off a cliff, or different kind of strange and scary sensations. So then we can read the next line, the verse starting on page 12. Through recognizing death and remembering the Lama from the heart, may we find certainty in the vital points of the instructions taught, and without seeking an impure samsaric womb, may we transfer to Padmasambhava's pure land. In sum, throughout the 3 times and appearances, since we are driven into imagination of what to do, without being distracted for even a moment, may we trust in the root Lama, who is inseparable from Padmasambhava. So it says, through from recognizing death and remembering the Lama from the heart. So there's some people that said that after they've died, they still don't really know that they've died. They don't recognize that they've died. So when someone has died and they're in the Bardo and they still are not sure that they've died, then they'll have kind of these startling experiences where and there's like this feeling of desperation. They'll go to their family members and try to talk to them, but they're just being ignored. They'll talk to the family member and the family member won't respond, because they don't see the person, of course, but the Bardo being can see their loved ones, and they think they're alive, and they become very frustrated and desperate, like, why are you not answering me? And then they'll think, am I dead? And then they'll have kind of a series of different kind of frightening verifications of their death, where like they'll walk in sand and then look for footprints and see that they have no footprints, or they'll be in the sun and they'll look for their shadow, but there's no shadow, and so and then they'll think, oh, okay, maybe I have most certainly died, and this will be devastating to the person who has died.
Mondoda, Hardo, Jewana, Madame Bacini, they were changing on the Hoyata, the Namudes.
So then, as it says, and then without seeking an impure samsara womb, so without, so may I not try, kind of grasp at whatever seems like potentially comfortable, but instead remember, the pure realm of lotus light, or, for instance, like Sukhabati, Dewachin, Amitabha's Pure Land, if we then in that time, it's sort of the aspirations, may we transfer, to a pure realm, to a Buddha field.
Otida Karina, Kandariantini, Chidaplona Mombo, Poncho, some Mombo, Matawa, Tola, Zavila Matela, Zavilama, Buddha Latini, Beloti, Mayuachi at the kitchen is.
So then it says, even, so not, not being, not falling, kind of victim to the afflictive emotions, but really staying, single pointed and not becoming distracted for even a moment. May we trust in the root guru who is inseparable from Padmasambhava.
Lame Topa, Sam Yermi base, that the Tangila on Yere, Masuji, Lama Temba, Sanje Tena, Tangi took Miss me, but then Dedo, Lame took Miss me, that's Sanje do what is. Tendi, Lama da Ransam Nis and Resona, then there are two in 6 days, Chuku more Polo is.
And so then it says the final, not so low, so then we can read together the final verse on page 13. But I think he'll read it first.
Okay. Kejik Chitalo Mambo Poncho, it's a Lama would get a lot of
Yeah, they look so.
Yeah, maybe Kejik Zamiam, Kejik Zamiam, my Lotikos, Lama Totan, Ransem Nimin de Ranre Chuku, Dancy Sinejam, Monum Tuji to be.
So we can read the last verse together. With the Lama's heart and our own mind merged inseparably, after retaining the permanent domain of self-knowing Dharmakaya, by the manifestations of compassionate aspirations, may we establish all sentient beings, as many as space is vast, in supreme awakening.
Or that deal that the case for that and the Mombola Yorwa. Today, a Chigala, Sanjelo, Tamina, and Sanjay Toto needs me by Dedo.
So, this is like most important, and really what has kind of been the message from the beginning is that if we can remember the Buddha or the Lama, and understand that our own mind is indivisible from the mind of the Buddhas, and our spiritual teacher, then are recognizing that inseparability, then we will be able to awaken, essentially in whatever stage of the Bardo that we're in.
Okay.
So all this detail, did a practitioner pass over to the other side to come back and tell us what happened when you left the body? How did we go? You figured it out.
Wait, I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
All this information that was gleaned after somebody used their body, somebody had to be there, get all this detailed information.
Like, how do we know this?
And then bring it back.
Yeah. So the question for the people on Zoom was, there's all this information that we have here about this, that, and the other that happens in the Bardo, but in order to know that, then somebody has to have gone into the Bardo or have like a clear experience of this and then bring it back here for us to have these accounts of what it is that actually happens.
Really, that's a good question. 마시모 파도 때문에도 하고 그래서 clearly 나서 장요로 파도 장요를 하고 요래스.
So right, so there's certain aspects of this that we can definitely know before we die, like the stages of dissolution, that actually also in practicing Bardo, for instance, that one can, while they're alive, really become familiar with these stages of dissolution.
근데 답변은 가서도 냠내 치리고로 가서 냠내 집이 가라 배나 proximately 가서 하고 그래서 컨디션에 배는 템렘 베커셔고 지나 가서 말람 말말 본다 이 쿠브로와 이 쿠비 가나 템렘 이 비가라 초로와 되네 디가나 말람 라소바다베 지 가서다 배치 50% 돼 하고 두 그래서
So dambo temnem teneni kupe kalagare sorwa.
보다는 배나 딱 제가 하고 그러면서 라이브 먼저 공부요로 배하면서 양교로 와 하고 그래서 테마이나 당가서 시사비 예라로 좀 당그러와 텔라가서 말람 니 코피 까블라 장안에 되네 니 코피 까블라 템렘도 칼디스 템기도 좀 못한 지네 되네 직다 파도세나리 칸타디 스테이지에 오데 지 칼디스 템기요라고 되네 아주 출발해 토끼요레스.
So like for people who, for instance, practice like in the 6 yogas in the context of retreat, there can be almost like 50% kind of direct experience while people are alive of, approximately like what happens, when the stages of dissolution happen at the time of death, because there is a really similar process that happens when we fall asleep. And so as the practitioner's awareness becomes very strong and they're able to be really aware through those stages of dissolution at the time of sleep, then they really kind of know, what the experience, they become more familiar with the experience. Also through, practicing dream yoga, and also the process of dream and so forth, there is some real, like, direct familiarity with what happens, to some degree, in these stages of transition.
근데 제가 나이다 real practitioner 냠렌칭에 배 냠렌치 칭 통보 배는 저도 친구 또 많이 되게 돼서 공 콘데 닌카 되네 라티라 주르 샤바 나이 통그레 송도와 말이 배. Sorry. 콘데니까.
Yeah.
닌자라 되네 락데나 잘라디 샤바는 통도와 맞어디 어떠나니. 주르라스는 간다고지 통그레 송도와.
So then, like a real practitioner who has like really high level of realization of Mahamudra can see, actually, the idea is that they can actually see that they have a certain degree of omniscience, that they see everything clearly, like all the phenomena of samsara and nirvana as clearly as holding a juniper berry in the palm of their hand.
야, 내가 나 얘기다 단단하서 타고 비메 그만서 올라서 버텐데 야. 다 가히 나서는 몸다 가히 야.
Dapo pime.
타고 비메 원주. 다한테 나서는 몸라서 버텨서 야. 신내 지금 출발로 쳤어.
Nangsa, thank you. Nangsa su.
나서는 몸.
Nangsa.
몸. 그래서 다 거라 신내 막. 파도 나오나도 티미치바 미야 소나나도 카리나다 레이트소 레이트 카와카와이나 조나도네 텐소 무유라 로데와 텐디 용베오레스.
And actually there are accounts of some practitioners, like Dapo Pime Wangchuk and Nangsa Ubum, who are said to have died and gone into the Bardo and experienced the Bardo and been into different realms, like actually were able to go to the 3 lower realms and communicate with beings in those realms, and then came back, with accounts of, what happens in those places, or what the experience of the Bardo is like.
Yeah, also this, if you do the practice, it's kind of really amazing, so also this my experience is, so we meditation, so meditation, so since I think the Mahamudra and the 6 of Yoga Naroba, I think 2 years, more than 2 years. So really focus with no distraction, we're not talking.
He was able to really focus on it for like 2 years without, not any distractions, they were keeping silence, not interacting with people, like meditating day and night.
Right, and then actually the amazing, so I can able to, also I never lay down, sleeping, so just sit. And so they can control, actually amazing. So this sleeping, but sleeping is not like deep sleeping. So you can control, and then like whatever dream, and also like I would, so I kind of before the sleeping, sort of I prepare, so I whatever with the visualization, So this I can maintaining during the sleeping time. So normal, ordinarily, right? So we have something planning, or chanting or visualization, but we can sleep and then forget, right? But this meditators not like that. Really can maintaining, so before sleeping, so you can prepare whatever visualization. So I can maintain it for night. Also I sleeping, not like wake up. So that time is, so this according to the text and I practice is kind of how much, So then I said like 50% they feel, experience.
It has like direct experience, just like it's explained in the text.
Do you think that when His Holiness the Dalai Lama's physical body dies, that he goes into the Bardo and goes to the different realms to liberate people? Or are the realms just another manifestation of a projection of the mind?
Cool. So the question was, do you think that when His Holiness the Dalai Lama dies,
14 times.
14 times, does he go into the Bardo to help beings? Does he go into other realms to help beings? Or are these really just the projections of the mind? The realms and Bardo, right?
Tajitati Lamarwa, Tatali Lamari, Tinita Lama, Sama, high realization, Samala. Ko simchen tamji la pantoya, lower the pantoya di, Koran Tong Tomato Gacha Yomaris.
So actually, so with highly realized beings like His Holiness the Dalai Lama,
yeah, there's actually many,
they don't have to wait until they die. Like they benefit beings all the time, like at all times. So regardless of what their kind of state of being is.
I have a question about, can you explain a little more, or maybe define recognition as you've been discussing it and saying, when you're recognizing one of the radical deities, or if you're recognizing Dewa-Shen, what does the recognition consist of? Is it just like simple recognition as we would experience it here in the life Bardo, or is it a different recognition?
Oh, so the question was, we've been talking about recognition a lot, like, recognizing one of the wrathful deities in the Bardo, recognizing one of the pure realms like Dewachin. So what is that recognition? Is it a kind of different type of recognition, or is it just as simple as, oh, I recognize this thing, like what recognition is for us, now when we're alive?
I think this is maybe two ways. 당보대 드는 동의 있어서 아무도 in ordinary sense nga some mungu hebano do tindi yosare so
So you think there's maybe
you pay chorang me mangu hegore tine yele mutu do mo hengrwa.
So he thinks that there's some degree of just like ordinary recognition happening, just like we would recognize something now, like I know somebody, I see that person, oh, I knew them before, I know who they are, I recognize them.
Tine ta ti gana recognition categories 당이 공도 휴가나 이래 초탐지 결혼이 뭐로 봐요.
But he thinks
생겨나 이 우세와 tindriki tourne tene koji automatically naturally haina tene recognize chara go sarwa.
But there's also like a deeper level that kind of
Highly.
transcends like the conceptual, the realm of the conceptual, that is connected with like understanding the lack of true existence of phenomena. Understanding the clear light luminosity nature of our own awareness, so there's also a recognition that kind of transcends what we would know now.
So, is this Bardo process, and again, all this detail, is this only for human beings? What about the other 6 classes of beings, like animals, and do they go through the same Bardo?
So the question is the way that the Bardo is taught and, like the experiences of death and Bardo just for human beings, or is it the same for all classes of beings of the 6 realms?
I think good question. So, terwa. Ina yang ngaco di pece na laba na yi ngaco mud ina jipa chagyo maris. For the experience jipa chagyo maris.
So, according to the text, it's maybe not exactly the same.
Tenigramida. Mud jipa ina mud samala jipa
Oh,
experience
sorry.
maris.
Even for humans, it's not going to be the same for each human. Like, it's going to be quite different, actually.
So depending their channel, being karma. So some like for instance dissolution, the practitioner can control the dissolution too, but the dissolution is very slow, or maybe dissolution quickly. But however, in the human beings come to the miluna,
But for human beings, like they do go through the same progression, but it kind of happens maybe in different ways and on different timetables. So for like some people, it all kind of happens very quickly. For others, it's more drawn out. And there's some differences there, but the progression for all human beings is more or less the same.
Similar. Ina yang tolu de ko category stage in this manda yosari. Ina this ko chargi yosari. Ina yang ko muk body na ye medu. Ina yang ko this chi pa yosamaris.
But it's said to be different for other beings. Like if there are some differences. Like for animals, for instance, they don't have a human body, so there's gonna be differences in how it's a similar process, but said to be a similar process, but also kind of different.
But also this depending their body. So like for example, or animals like elephant, cow, horses. So those are approximately like similar
To human
human beings, but insect, bugs. So this kind of different, I think.
I would imagine so.
Could we say that our fear of death could be a result of the fact that when we come to the Bardo, we lose that control over our sense of our identity and our life and our, you could use the word ego, I'm not sure if that fits, but that we are going to lose control over what we think of as our life and ourselves, right?
So the question was, do you think that some of our fear of death has to do with a sort of a sense that when we die, we will lose control over our sense of identity, or over our, that has to do with the fear of lack of control?
Yes, control. Well, you're saying in the Bardo that things just start happening and
Yeah.
changing with
That we don't have control over
we
our
cannot
life,
control what we
and we don't
consider
control what is happening, and so yeah, the question is, Tani nga tso ta tha yang she pena chiwala mi mambo shina mirwa. Tani di la pena nga tso chiwe kala pa che rangwang me pa da wo cha gade da wo so liu pa li kim sen di na. Li kim sen na.
现在这样的，
Yeah.
但我们现在我说的，你们这个人那他现在讲嘛的那不多。
So he said, well, like he said, for people who are practitioners, there's really no need for fear.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yes,
Alright, so this-
being a practitioner alleviates that.
Right. I think this is, yes, if fear, so during the death. So then harder, I think.
It's much harder.
But the reality is, we no need to fear. So this is natural, every beings. At the same time, also we are practitioners, we can, this mind, so our hand, or we just be fear or be happy, so. So that's why I say this. I think a lot of aspirations, prayers, right? So we are, what they call this? I die, be happy. What is the prayer? Is
Don't worry, be happy.
No, it's
Sort of. Got it, my Karen. No, but
happily in the great luminosity.
no. There's another
No.
one. It's like if
I'm
I'm gonna get sick, let me get sick. I'll be happy. If I die, let me die. I'll be happy.
right. So that's, I think,
The Jigten Sungana, right?
yeah, the longitudinal
Yeah. So
prayer.
it's a word Jigten Sungana.
So this interesting, this very important. Everything is mind. Okay.
Yes.
Everything is mind. If you realize everything is our own mind, and then you can, everything is our hand. Okay?
Everything is in our hands.
Right? So usually we thinking about like, look like always outside, something somebody doing, somebody maybe this bed or somebody coming. So that's very difficult. But really Buddhism is said, all mind, your samsara is your own mind, your nirvana is own mind, okay? You make your own scary, your mind. Okay, you made, I'm scary, I worry, Or just relax, happy, you can, your own mind, So this is the Buddhism is amazing, really freedom. We said free, I want free, right? I want democracy, free, But it is, understand our mind, very free, no need to rely on, others. So otherwise we can ask, please make me peace. Other people never can make it. Right? So also Bardo is very important, is the Buddha said, he said something attacks, Christianity or Buddhism, their hells, right? These hell beings called heart hell. The possible is maybe experience, but not such things, they are hell, no hell.
There's no place called
No
hell.
place. So just all projection.
Because nothing really exists.
Right. So this.
Yes.
작색 되려고 작색 사이 수위지 뭐 정도나 간에 좀 딘데다 탐지네. 그다 same days.
It's too fast.
Sorry.
Got it?
전에 작색 사이 수위지. 당연히 작색 사이 올라오고 와. 오케이. 전에 가디언 전에 수소 그랬어요 말했어. 이나 고쳐봐 연습에 저 대파만 뭐지 저랑게 선반 중이나 되게 우스게 막 어떻게 요 말해서 지치셔도 요 말해서 뭐 야마 요
So
말해서
as it says in the Bodhicharya avatar, like who,
Buddha said actually
or the Buddha said, who is it who, from where do the burning iron floors arise? Who created, the denizens of hell? All of this arises from nothing other than the negative mind, the sinful mind.
So really is that so yeah, of course we are fry something create all this. Also ordinarily we do these days so make worry what happens next, or this maybe problem comes, maybe that comes. So then kind of we create so then it's difficult. But if not, really is that this ultimately is there no bardo?
Yeah.
Right? So this actually bardo means the two, what is the meaning, right? So first they say bardo jidi, ordinary sense that the person the bardo jidi jimare yesra.
So like there's the kind of literal meaning of bardo, which is intermediate state.
In reality, maybe that what is your is.
But actually there isn't
Bardo
like
means?
something called the intermediate state, some place,
Huh?
There isn't some place that actually is the intermediate state. It's not like purgatory or something. I guess, I don't know.
Bardo thandala. Raji mado pachela tene bardo la gore.
So actually it is, something that what we call bardo actually lacks real reality or true existence, substantial nature.
Yeah, of course. So if you something realize person, if you're looking for what we say experience this and that, yeah, maybe individually possible, but we someone looking for bardo. There is no bardo. You cannot find a bardo at all. Right?
I think it could come also from, in this country, the Christian belief that there is a heaven and a hell that are actually like places you go to.
Yeah,
I think that's where
absolutely.
that fear comes from, that question,
Yeah.
because in my mind I'm thinking the bardo is like, you're going to heaven, or there's a place to go to, so thank you for telling
Correct.
us.
There's no
There's no
physical.
place to go to like that. Okay, very good. We're free there too. Okay.
No, physical
Oh, good.
at all. Within us. Actually, Christianity is this is maybe we have thinking about what they call Christianity, saying this your kingdom.
The kingdom of heaven is within.
So that's I think
That's right on.
So that's really So I think
That's the truth, yeah.
that's truth. But then sometimes said, okay, this Jesus, you purifying all the karma. That's we don't know. we already create ourselves, so we can purify more. We can purify, but cannot someone.
Somebody outside of us can't save us.
Yes, that's
Exactly. Thank you.
that's Buddha said. Even the Buddha said he cannot.
He cannot. Oh.
He cannot. I can purify your karma. No, and also I cannot give the realization. My realization I cannot give to you. So that's Buddha said no. But you can do. How to do, Buddha, I can show you.
I can show you, but you have to do it for yourself.
So Drupon, I'm sitting here remembering, like the hazards and uncertainties and that part of your instructions, it reminds me of like nightmares that I had as a child, where very confusing, and I try to wake up and I'd wake up into something that made sense, and then be tossed into another dream, and then I'd wake, trying to get out, and the same kind of like that. I feel like I've experienced that as a child in my dreams. Is that weird? How weird is that?
No, I have too.
Yeah.
Or you could just take LSD and
Yeah, can be good Bardo, maybe something like that.
In that double reve, the Milan double use,
The Malang lawyer loved the Bardo.
Yeah, absolutely. So like you said before, like it is very much, like the Bardo experience is very akin to what we experience in dreams, like things,
For sure.
the way that is.
And it exists about as much as dreams do, right? Yeah.
But because nobody met up, right? Yang tadi ko malam di cancer hiyorda. The dream is this strange. So dream, we learning the dream, right? Dream is the whole different categories, So sometimes dream is nothing makes sense, anything, right? So some dreams can be many generations ago. You can get experience, or some dreams may be future, but some dreams no make sense anything. So that's but I think Bardo is a little bit because Bardo is not like I think more involved karma, kind of reality comes, I think, not like temporary dream.
So this practice, prepares us to enter the Bardo and hopefully recognize, the slideshow, the Pure Lands, or the deities or something, and find a way to avoid being reborn in samsara. But as we all seem likely to, it's very likely that many of us will continue to come back in that process. Doesn't explain much of that process where you're then reborn.
Oh yeah, we didn't get into that. Yeah. So there was we left it. So there was the question just now for the people on Zoom that we went through all of the stages of the Bardo, but then there seems to be like a period that's very much connected with rebirth in the Bardo and like coming back, if you're reborn in samsara, which may be the case, he said, for most of us, then like what happens then? What is that process like? We didn't really get into that.
Right, so in Tita Dina Yang, the becoming the
Yeah, so he said because we didn't have a lot of time, so pretty much we just went through, like the Chuni Bardo and then like the beginning of the Bardo of becoming. So it's really in the Bardo of becoming that then the signs that indicate, where your next birth might be, and then that process starts to happen. And yeah, there's a lot of instruction that goes with that as well, but we didn't, and also I think even in the prayer there's not a whole lot. So
the prayer,
the prayer is really
Maybe not an impure womb.
Yeah.
So maybe we next time. So maybe
Bardo teachings number 2.
Actually we are, and maybe when you have winter teachings, because we will have more.
Okay, so now you have something. Say something. That's good. So, alright, now it's time. So, I have news. So probably many people know, not everybody, but we came here also. So first resident Lama here.
He was the first resident teacher at Drupon Namgyaling.
So he's so I think like interesting. So this special day is 11/11. So
on the the Buddha's descent from Tushita, which is Lababduchen in Tibetan, which was November 11th, which he thinks is auspicious because it was also 11/11. Kimbo Shirabosa went into a 3-year retreat. So,
and then,
in Tibet.
right, and also future, so this, my sister, no, Lukjongbe Yaboyore, Kemore, the first Kemo, Chayore, so the Arina Yongre, Izara Yores.
And so also we got very good news just within the past day or so, actually, that Drupon Rinpoche's sister, actually his first cousin, I also refer to as sisters, but she was the first female Kemo of her, of their Nanuri to receive the Kemo title, and she just finally received, there were like different stages of getting her religious workers visa, and she finally got the final word that she got it, and so she's able to come to the US. So this is very exciting because she will be coming here and will be available for traveling and giving teachings. Mm-hmm. And she's really
Does she live in Florida?
She'll probably be based in Florida, yeah.
And then also we talking Bardo. So we are winter retreat coming in Florida. So subject is the Bardo. So probably the more days, so like.
We'll be able to get into it in more detail.
Right. So if we have online and so the Sunday and
the dates of our winter teachings are January 23rd to February 1st, but Drupon Rinpoche will be teaching on the Bardo from January 23rd to, I think the 23rd will probably just be an opening talk in the evening, but so from the 24th to the 27th, we'll be teaching on Bardo, and then we have Kimbo Tenzin who will be teaching on the practice of the 3 roots for the second half, the Yangzab 3 roots, and who will be teaching for the second half of that, which will be, I guess, from the 28th to February, or 29th to February 1st. Anyway, it's the same number of days, 4 days.
Mm-hmm. Does everyone know the name of Drupon Center in Florida and how to reach it online?
Yeah, so it's Drongor Jangju Bling. The website is www.dnjus.org. But I think also maybe you guys could put something out so that
it's on our homepage too. We have the other centers listed at the bottom of our homepage. There's a link right to their website.
So it's dnjus.org. Yeah, I guess I don't have to say www.
No.
That's like old school.
Sounds like 90s internet.
Yeah, I'm like very not tech savvy.
okay, that's good. So that makes it.
Okay, so we'll do the long dedication.
On page 39.
On page 39. Dorje Chang, Tiloba, Naroba, Marva, Milarepa, Dharma Lord Rampoba, Bhagwan Drupa, and Lord Dugomba, please bestow upon us the most auspicious blessing of all the Kagyu Lamas. For this realm encircled by snow-covered mountains, you are the source of every benefit and bliss without exception. Tenzin Gyatso, you who are one with Avalokiteshvara, may you remain steadfast until samsara's end. You are the embodiment of all the precious ones. You, a great being, are the holder and the promoter of the teachings of the Shakya line. Your perfect actions are for the liberation of sentient beings. May you, the Jetson Lama, whose enlightened activities are spontaneously present, live long. Precious holder of the triple gem of Dagomba, who preserves the indisputable practice of the profound Dharma, who has realized the sublime truth which reveals peace and illumination, may you, who relieve the suffering of limitless beings, live long. The one known in the Holy Land as Aryadeva, emanated into the Gar clan of eastern Tibet as Jigimba, the heart son of Jigimgongo. May the life of glorious Garchin remain steadfast for 100 eons. In this age of strife, when the victor's teaching faces hardship, through his powerful Vajra-like conduct, he takes on himself the heavy responsibility of the unbiased teaching. May Garchin, the son of the teachings, live long. You who are richly endowed with the glorious wealth of Dharma knowledge, who through reflecting and meditating have actualized the self-aware absolute reality, and shine with the 100,000 light rays of ethical discipline of the Buddha Dharma, may you, Kenshin Ratna Dwaza, live long. You possess the repository of the essence teachings of the past Supreme Siddhas. You, the precious Ponjok, are the refuge of all beings. You are the treasure trove of all the wish-fulfilling Norbus. Drupon Ponjok Norbu, I supplicate you. You, the precious keeper of the holy Dharma, are the supreme dispeller of darkness of sentient beings. The sun rays of your wisdom pervade everywhere. You are the true and unfailing protector of sentient beings of the degenerate age. May you, who lead us to liberation, live for hundreds of eons. By this virtue may I achieve the all-knowing state. And may all who travel on the waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death cross the ocean of samsara by defeating all enemies, confusion, the cause of suffering. Bodhicitta, the excellent and precious mind, where it is unborn may it arise, where it is born may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher. I pray that the Lama may have good health. I pray that the Lama may have long life. I pray that your Dharma activities spread far and wide. I pray that I may not be separated from you. As when Jushri the warrior realized the ultimate state, and as did Samantabhadra, I will follow in their path and fully dedicate all the merit for all sentient beings. By the blessing of the Buddha who attained the three kayas, by the blessing of the truth of the unchanging Dharma as such, by the blessing of the indivisible Sangha order, may the merit I share bear fruit. By the virtues collected in the three times, by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtue, may I and all sentient beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment. May the teachings of the great Jigumba Ratnashri, who is omniscient, Lord of the Dharma, Master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara. His holy, venerable, precious, kind, root, and lineage lamas, divine assembly of Vedas and assemblies of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Yogins, Yoginis, and Dakinis dwelling in the 10 directions, please hear my prayer. By the power of this vast root of virtue, may I benefit all beings through my body, speech, and mind. May the afflictions of desire, hatred, ignorance, arrogance, and jealousy not arise in my mind. May thoughts of fame, reputation, wealth, honor, and concern for this life not arise for even a moment. May my mind stream be moistened by loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta, and through that may I become a spiritual master with good qualities equal to the infinity of space. May I gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life. May the torment of suffering not arise even at the time of my death. May I not die with negative thoughts. May I not die confused by wrong view. May I not experience an untimely death. May I die joyfully and happily in the great luminosity of the mind as such, and the pervading clarity of Dharmata. May I in any case gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra at the time of death.
or in the Bardo,